Good evening, gorgeous people. I'm Aaron Ryan, and welcome to the Big Brother After Show Eviction interview. Tonight, it was the end of the road for Jaycee. In an interesting twist, Jaycee asked his fellow housemates to cast their vote on him, essentially asking to be evicted. We'll chat to him about that, but also another talent this man has. Jaycee, thank you for joining me tonight.
Thank you for having me, Aaron. I appreciate it.
Well, it was clear in the eviction ceremony that you were asking fellow housemates to vote for you so that you could save Alicia and Johnson. It would
Okay.
it would seem obvious that you were thinking that both of these people are deserving to stay in the competition. But I guess my question is, why do you think they are more deserving than you?
Well, it came down to my why and my reason, right? So I really wanted Australia to see JC for the human personality, more than just a talking head online, more than just the artist. I wanted Australia to get to know who I really was. And I walked in with Johnson and Alicia by my side, and we had this strong bond and this strong alliance. And I found out by doing 50 days in the house, I got what I needed. I became a better version of me from doing the show, and I played a phenomenal game. I think I had one of the best social games, and I had my challenge wins. I did the head of house, and I felt complete. I felt content. And when it came down to me, Johnson, and Alicia in the chair, I knew that Johnson was passionate about the game. He'd been watching the game since a little boy. Same way I feel about making music is how he felt about Big Brother.
Mm.
And I respected Alicia so much for the way she had played the game. It wasn't so much as vote me out. It was just more me saying, I have come to grips with whatever the outcome is. I'm no longer, uh, fighting to be here.
Mm.
Because I honestly, when I hit that top 10, I was like, I'm, I'm not playing to win $250,000. I'm not playing to be. I would have loved to get to the top three, and then Australia can decide. But I was never playing to just. I need that money. I'm trying to make money right now. And I came to grips with that on day 50. You know, by that point in the game, it's like the way you think about the world changes.
Well, it's really interesting. That I've been loving doing these podcasts because obviously what you see on air. I mean, it was still beautiful what you see on air because you were obviously allowing Johnson and Alicia to go forward. But all that extra information that you've given is actually really interesting. Um, Look, in the previous episode, I mean, everyone's going to ask you about this. There was that deadlock vote with Taras and Drew. I would have thought emotionally you made the right decision, like almost the right moral decision, but perhaps maybe the wrong strategic decision, because that led to a Justice for Drew campaign. Do you stand by your decision to vote Drew off instead of Taras?
100%. The thing is, it's really easy watching the show when it's been cut and screwed to then be like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have, or maybe this and that. But at the time, it was a no-brainer. I had my best mate, and then I had someone who was coming for me in the chair, you know?
Yeah.
So not only was I eradicating a potential threat to my game, but I was also making my morale in the house on more better experience for myself because I love Taras and he was just such a vibe. There was other moments where looking back in hindsight, oh, I could have done this differently, could have done this differently. But justice for Drew, and I think that's a great I don't hate the hashtag. I think it's great. I love it. Yeah.
Well, about Taras, for a while he was flying under the radar, but he seemed to be a strong newbie. Do you think he might be playing both sides, or do you think he's still a strong newbie?
No, I think Taras has played the best new format game. I think he's played an unbelievable new format game. I think every one of his moves has been quite intentional. And that's just his personality, he's very quirky, he's very unassuming. He's when he entered the house, he looked like a bit of a geek. No one thought he was going to win challenge. No one really thought much. He was just so validating and he was just such a nice guy. And then it wasn't until, the pointy end of the game where people were like, wait a minute, this Taras guy actually is a beast. He takes his shirt off and he's got muscles and he's got mental fortitude and he's strong and all this stuff. And by that point, I feel like the new format game he's played has been brilliant.
Absolutely. Look, there was a lot of talk about Taras, as I said, being under the radar. But do you think you were also a little bit under the radar? I mean, I know you were part of the J crew, but from what aired, you never seemed to be to voice it all that much. When I think of those strong voiced, I'm a newbie, I'm coming after you. There's those strong people like Johnson and Leisha. Were you a newbie, but playing it cool, or were you a strong advocate in the house
Yeah, see,
that you're a
this
newbie and wanted to vote out all the OGs? It was hard to tell.
yeah, this is the part where I've had to really disconnect from the show and the experience. I think from day dot it was pretty clear where what I was playing, and I don't think I was under the radar. I think from the second chance challenge with Lara and Lulu, people knew from that point on that I was a serious player, and it was talk. I was the comeback king. That was my nickname in the house, and I played an unbelievable social game. People knew that there wasn't many combinations that could get me out. I feel like my dialogue probably was just underrepresented on the show, and for whatever reason, it's just not the storylines they chose. But I don't think I was under the radar at all.
With some of those scenes that they did show in terms of drama, I mean, I think of Tim, Drew, Tully, Sam, and a few others. Never Jaycee. Did you just escape drama, or were you involved in drama, but it just didn't air all that much?
I wasn't I'm not really dramatic like that.
Mm,
Where stuff gets to me and I feel away and I raise my voice. Me and Drew had a few moments, where it's a little heated. Uh there's a few moments with me and Tim, in the early episodes where he called me a liar and we kind of had that moment in the eviction room. Uh but nah, there wasn't a whole heap of drama on my side, but there wasn't definitely me avoiding situations. It just never came to me like that because I played a game that I know I was friends with the OGs and I was friends with the newbies. There wasn't much reason for people to be like, "You lied to me," because I never
yeah.
really did tell a lie.
What can you tell me about some of the things that didn't air? Because I mean, many of the evicted housemates that I spoke to said they formed really close relationships with other people, but you just never saw on air.
Yes,
Is there anything you can tell me about your experience that did not make it to air?
yeah, like so much, so much. I think just my dialogue in general, my interviews, my gameplay, you didn't really, it seems like I'm not really playing any game when you watch it, but there's a lot of gameplay on my behalf.
Right.
There's a lot of relationships I built. I was close with Dave, I was close with Tali, I was really close with Estelle.
Oh,
You wouldn't even know that.
no, definitely
And
not.
probably don't even know that I was really close with Alicia and Johnson until this episode. We shook hands on the first night, me, Johnson, and Alicia, saying we're the first three and we're the last three. But no one knew that.
Yeah.
Mm.
There were some big players in the competition, and I'm not suggesting that you weren't a big player, but I mean, obviously we've got like Tim in there from before, Reggie. Alicia's been, had a lot of airtime, and it's sort of a huge threat in the house. Johnson, when you talk about him, Big Brother was basically his life. This was his dream. I mean, how hard is it to compete against these kind of players?
When you're in the house, it's not like that at all.
Okay.
Like yeah, like you're just like I'm with these people right now. We're playing a game together. Like yeah, Tim, you could see that Tim was very experienced. He knew how to twist and turn, and he's done this. This is his third time round, and he's done the new format before. So I recognize Tim's experience in the showbiz world. But Johnson, Alicia, and all that. To me, it was like we'll just like friends, and we're just doing it together. And yeah, I think there's just a lot of stuff we don't see in terms of strategy and gameplay and conversations. But I always knew that Johnson was gonna, you know, really do really well because he studied the game. He knew
Mhm.
the ins and outs of it all, and you can really see that he's a massive fan.
I want to ask you about someone that no one's really talking about, but it keeps plodding along and is getting right up there into the final six and final, getting really close there. And that's Brenton. We talked about players going under the radar, but I mean, look at this guy. Traditionally, intruders almost never make it to the end. Whilst big players like yourself, Drew, Tully, Joel, Trevor have all gone home, he's just sitting there quietly in the background. What are your thoughts on his game plan?
Yeah, Brendan, he came in and he established himself as a newbie, which was very smart for him because Jules came in and she kind of floated and she found Estelle and that was about it. But Brendan came and he said, I'm with the newbies. So we kind of protected him and worked alongside him. And him and Johnson made this really great relationship. And he even made a great relationship with Alicia. And that kind of kept him there because and the strategy behind the intruder, we all know an intruder will never win. Put it that way. That at least was the theory behind it. We know that when it comes to push and shove, the Australia public isn't going to vote an intruder to win. So we're kind of like, Brenton's someone you want to sit next to. So in
Mm.
that regard, he never was seen as a massive target. He was like, if I could pick Brenton in the final three with me, it's a 50-50 chance now.
I actually never thought about it like that. Very interesting. I suppose it would be better to be in the final three and have, I suppose Brenton next to you rather than Reggie, or something
Yeah,
like that. Yeah.
yeah.
A quick game. I've done this with all the other housemates. JC, who's the most genuine?
I think Johnson
Okay.
says it how it is. Yeah.
And the backflip of that, the most non-genuine, I guess, appears nice, but they could be lying to your face.
From my story, Gabby.
Okay. The most you would like to connect with on the outside of the house, who you'd like to have over for a barbecue.
One person? Oh,
I mean, there's no rules here.
yeah.
Whoever you
Okay.
like, but yeah.
Ras, Alicia Johnson. They're my three, I would say.
Oh, awesome. And who's the newbie housemate that you think could go the furthest?
I think Johnson's going to take it to the end. Yeah.
Yeah, it's getting harder now with these names like Taras and Alicia and Johnson. I mean, who's gonna slightly go?
Yeah,
And
I think
and
Johnson. Yeah, I think Johnson's got both sides down. He's got the great relationships with the OGs and the great relationships with the newbies. And he's just done it. He hasn't won any challenges, but he's just really, people want him there.
yeah.
They respect him.
And this might be a different answer or the same answer. Who would you like to win Big Brother?
I I'm happy with it, any newbie. I think I'd love to see someone new take it home, and I feel like yeah, it's good to have someone fresh win.
Yeah. All right, I want to move on to onto what some might think is a hidden talent because although there was mentions in Big Brother, I did not know you were quite like the professional in music. You're
Yeah,
currently
right.
on a music tour. When did that passion start for you?
Oh, I've been doing music for 5 years, like putting myself out there. But I've always been a music man. Like during school, I got my first guitar when I was 12, and it's always been a passion of mine. And that's always been the bigger picture is tours and writing hits,
Mm.
and that's what I love to do. And I just recently released a new album called Calm Before the Storm, and it's essentially about where I'm at now in my life, this calm moment before the storm. And the storm is essentially the best version of myself. And it's
Mm.
11 tracks describing my life, and they all got different meanings, very motivational songs. And it was kind of inspired by my experience on Big Brother. And I'm doing a tour for that album at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, you did mention Calm Before the Storm, and yeah, it dropped on June the 10th, so very recently. You
Yeah.
did mention a few of these words, but part of this project, you said that Calm Before the Storm is the story of my life in 11 songs, as you mentioned. It's a musical journey going deep into the mindset of the life events that have led me to this very moment, the cusp of a storm that I always felt was coming. This tape is a story of determination, perseverance, and hustle, doing whatever it takes to live your dreams and reach your full potential. The storm is stardom, and I'm ready. Welcome to Calm Before the Storm. Look, that's really powerful. Can you tell me about some of the life events that led you to this place?
I mean, inside outside of Big Brother, there was a period in uh probably like 6 months before I went on the show. My mom was really sick. Parents recently went through a divorce. My mom had this massive operation on her hip. She couldn't walk, and I was the caretaker for her for about over a year. And there wasn't any money coming in. I had to support the mortgage bills, and I had to push mom around in a wheelchair, and that really made me a man. I wasn't no longer a boy anymore, and there was a lot of drama between my family situation that just made I had to just step up. And then to put the icing on the cake, me and my girlfriend at the time, we broke up. I went through the heartbreak. Then I had this passion for music, and it just felt like nothing was working. I put out song after song after song after song, and I uploaded so many videos online, and it just wasn't going the way I wanted it. And the Big Brother opportunity came, and I took that by the horns, and that was so much more than I ever thought it was going to be. And then when I came out, I was just like, whoa, that was intense. Like, and I had this calm moment after that where everything kind of had settled. And then I was like, you know what? Sometimes the dots don't connect until you look back on them. And that's what
Mm.
that was. And I look back on everything that made me who I am now. And now I'm ready for the actual storm, which is the one that I have conjured up. It's not the one that was kind of chucked on me. It's the one that I have control over now. And that is what this is about.
I'm sure each song represents a different part of your life or journey. But is there any one song that stands out for you? Because I'm really into Missing Piece at the moment. I love that song.
Yeah, that's a good one. So that's about my current girlfriend. In the house, I had a lot of time to reflect, and I would just think about things, my parents, my love life, my friends, and that song was inspired by finding the missing piece to your puzzle, whether it's a relationship or even a business relationship or whatever. But we all have that person, or that, yeah, we all have that person that just, it just feels right. And that's what that song's about. But Rise Up's a good one. That's about, being on TV and overcoming naysayers. That's the opening track. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff there. There's 11 tracks.
Yeah. Look, you've just been to Melbourne. You have Brisbane coming up on July the 3rd, Sydney July the 9th, and a couple of dates in Hobart, July 16th and 17th. Where can people go to find out more details on that?
Yeah. So if you go to jc.com.au/shows, all the details there. I'm sure if you Google JC, Jaycee, something will come up. If you listen on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, JC on there as well.
Awesome. Look, I noticed there is a small gap there between July the 9th and July 16th. Have you got something planned for July the 12th, maybe?
Yes, I do actually. Yeah. Am I allowed to say?
Yeah, yeah, it has been released now. Yeah,
Yeah, the final, of course. And
yeah.
you'll be there. Listen.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I should be. I'm just going to start booking all my stuff today, actually,
Awesome.
which is awesome. Yeah, July 12th for the finale. Yeah, that's gone out because they put out ticket sales and stuff. Look, if you ever make it over to Perth for your tour, I'll certainly pop in. Amazing talent.
Perth.
Hmm?
You're in Perth.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's my hometown. Yeah,
Oh, there you go.
that's
Well, if you pop
I
into
didn't
your
know that.
hometown, and I'll certainly pop in for a concert for sure. Look, amazing
Yeah.
talent, and with Big Brother, you were deep into the top 10. So a remarkable effort. JC, thank you for joining me tonight.
Thanks, Aaron. I appreciate it.
No worries. Thanks. That was JC, 13th evicted from Big Brother 2022. That's it for tonight. Thank you for listening. I'm Aaron Ryan. I'll be back with the 14th eviction very soon. Good night.